Welcome to Terror from the Underdeep. Our project is now live. I'm Joe Goodman, publisher at Goodman Games, and I will pass the baton to Chris to introduce himself.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris. I'm the director of development and design for the 5e side of the house at Goodman Games, and I will pass the baton off to Matt.
Hello, my name is Matt Hildebrand. I am the art director for Goodman Games, and I get to work with lots of talented people, including the two other faces you can see. I'm going to pass on to Stefan, and hopefully he'll introduce Will once he's done giving us all the important facts about Stefan.
Oh, thank you, Matt. I'm Stefan Pogue. I am one of the artists at Goodman Games, and I am here with Will McCausland.
Hello.
Take it away, Will.
I'm Will McCausland. I'm one of the freelancers for Goodman Games and have been for a couple of decades. And I think I did the cover for this one.
I think you did. Yeah.
That is a true story.
I have here to show you. If you
Oh, let's see it, Will. Yeah. Show off some art. How about that?
Nice.
Yeah. Show off some art.
see that from there.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Wow. Smaller than I expected.
Well, it's about 150% of how to pencil it at.
And if I remember your history correctly, you trained as a jeweler's assistant, right? And so
lapidary, yes.
And you're like super detailed, yeah.
Yeah, so that's huge for me. Yeah. That's like side of it. That's like a garage door.
So if we asked you to do like a mural on the side of a building, it would like cause your head to explode.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't my eyes for sure.
Yeah. And just to say it, you painted that on what I saw was actual canvas with actual paint, which these days in the world of digital art is just really weird. Did you actually use real paint?
Yeah, real acrylics, Liquitex, my favorite brand.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it looks great.
Yeah, I work on illustration board. I have worked on canvas though, but at this size, you'd see all the grain of the canvas would control your brush too much at that scale. So unless you gesso it really good and sand it, which I've done as well, but illustration board is my favorite.
Wow. All right, so if you're watching this either on YouTube or on the Backer Kit page, please be sure to pledge. Terror from the Underdeep is now live. We're going to take this morning to walk everybody through the basics of the project. I think some of you saw the various live stream previews we did leading up to this and maybe read some of the emails. But some of you are probably seeing this for the very first time and wondering what the heck we're talking about. So we will walk you through the basics of the project today and then talk about some cool stretch goals and show off some cool art. Will has more to show, including one that literally I won't spill the beans, but Matt showed me right before the show started the other cover you did, and it looks awesome.
It does, yeah.
So if you're watching out there, we'll show you that in a little bit, but you can't wait. Then Stefan, we saw the finished scan of your ziggurat cover, and Matt told me about your hat joke too. Do you want to share the hat joke?
What's the hat joke?
You showed me a image from an old TSR module where someone had a hat that felt graduated, sort of like the ziggurat you made.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and our incredibly fascinating joke was that was his zigger hat.
Yes,
I think it's great.
Yeah, that's good. That's cute.
But making up crazy words like that is very Gygaxian. And he used to throw in one or two crazy. I learned so many words from reading his stuff. And the advantage is you get to spell it yourself if you make it up. So I believe we should put a silent G in ziggurat.
It only makes sense.
Yes. Anyway, everybody, you're going to see all these amazing images and ziggurats in the moments to come. But let's start by telling you what the heck we're talking about. So let's talk about the basic box set. And Chris, you're the one who led the development and the overall plotline. Do you want to tell people what this adventure is about?
So this is, as we're calling it, a giant box of 5e adventure. So if you're familiar with the iconic giants from classic D&D, Hill, Frost, Fire, Stone, Cloud, Storm. I got them all. I win. So 6 of the adventures in the box set one adventure each features these giants. So that's pretty awesome. But then as always, the giants are not the ones that are actually maneuvering and pulling all the strings behind the scenes. There's a deep dark entity, shall we say, literally deep and dark because it's down in the Underdeep, that's actually pulling all the strings and everything. And there's a cult to support that big bad. So basically, you've got a high level adventure. I mean, there's so much to talk about because, like I said, there's like 400 pages of content in here. There's 9 actual chapters of adventure. And then there's 8 other chapters of all the supporting material for like the setting, for the new magic items, the NPCs, new spells, all the new cool stuff that comes along with when you do a huge project like this. So this is going to keep folks busy adventuring for at least a year, probably a year real time, because there's just so much content in there. And that's just the box set. In addition, in the box set, we're going to have poster maps, which we'll probably talk about a little bit later. We're also going to have cardboard inspiration tokens, and we're going to have pre-generated characters already printed out on sheets, double-sided sheets, loose leaf, so that you can get to the game right away. Most folks are not going to have high-level characters, possibly, so here's a way that you can have high-level characters. You can do a couple tweaks on them real quickly, and then you can get right to the game table. Because this adventure starts at level 8 and goes all the way through level 16. There's ways that you can adjust it for your group. We always do that as part of Goodman Games. We always give you suggesting ways that you can tweak the levels up and down. But yeah, this is hardcore, high level. We feel that the market's not really supporting that right now. So we're jumping full long into the Underdeep and doing that.
And Chris, we always have this debate of how much of the plot do we want to spoil? Because what if players play this through, and do we give away the good stuff?
But spoiling it all.
Yeah, spoil it all, because it's so amazing. You gotta
if your
tell
players
everybody.
are watching, tell them to stop. Well, tell them to
out.
pledge first, and then tell them to stop watching. But yeah, so the big bad is a kraken. You're gonna see art of the kraken later on, and we kind of have a backstory for the kraken. And then the cult supports the kraken, but then there's all your good classic Underdeep factions that you're going to run into down below as well. So there's a lot of excitement here. Trying to keep up with the chat, and it's crazy. There's like too much here.
So there you got the Kuatoa, the Cultus, the Kraken. There's a Draco Lich. I say Lich. Some people say Lich, but Draco.
Draco Lich. There's a regular Lich in there as well.
Yeah.
There's very few drow. There are some drow in there, but we did not want to. I don't know. Maybe this is is this a teaser for something else? We didn't want to go full in onto the drow. So we do have a fortress of dark dwarves, the Durgar. So they're in there. So lots of opportunities to interact with all these different factions, and then either put them to the end of the sword or make friends with them and help you along the journey through the Underdark.
You make friends with bad guys? That's weird.
You do sometimes.
Okay. All right. And then oh, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I think that's probably smart. I mean, just because people might know there's a kraken at the end of the tunnel doesn't mean you're ready for the kraken at the end of the tunnel.
No.
So the more help you can get by the time you show up with the kraken, I think that's probably a bonus.
Yeah, totally. I'm agree with you. Krakens are not, they are bad. Well, we won't say the rest of that word, but anyway, they're powerful. Especially this way, they're high CR. So we'll leave it at that.
Especially the Stefan Kraken. Wait till we see it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't just do a regular Kraken. We couldn't do that. We had to put our own spin on it. So of course we did.
And then in the campaign as well, if you're pledging for the box set, there's the box set itself. There is it comes with cardstock punch out inspiration tokens that are inside the box.
Yes.
Chris had the idea do you want to tell him about the poker chip tokens?
Yeah, so in addition, so you're gonna get for free in the box, you're gonna get the punch out die cut cardstock inspiration tokens, and they will be double-sided art. But we're also going to make those available as an add-on in the nice, fancy, heavy poker chip style. If you've backed some of our other projects, you're probably familiar with those. We did luck tokens, I believe, for those in the past. So we give you an option to have some fun. And the idea with the inspiration tokens is in 5e, if your character either has inspiration or doesn't, if they have inspiration, the game master hands you the token. And it's a great reminder that you have inspiration, because when you're playing at the game table, there's always a lot going on. So a lot of times you don't remember you have this, inspiration in your back pocket, essentially. So if you have this physical token in front of you, you'll remember most likely. Most likely, you still might forget if it gets buried behind the Cheetos and the Mountain Dew. You might not see it. But so yeah, so we figured we wanted to do that, and hopefully this is kind of us kind of dipping our toe into the trying to make play aids and different things that you could use at the game table and see how this goes. And if this proves to be popular, then we have lots of ideas. Trust me, folks, we do not lack ideas at Goodman Games of different things that we could bring to enhance your experience at the game table. We just need a chance to do them. So
So then you got the inspiration tokens. Oh, sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
No, not at all. Inspiration tokens is just one of the elements that you said, Chris, is made for play at the game table.
Yes.
And while we embrace VTT play, and while you can get a PDF, a bookmarked PDF of everything that we sell at Goodman Games, go buy a book, you get a free PDF. In this case, what we love the best has always been sitting around the table with our friends playing games.
yes.
And you can use that PDF and do some printing yourself. You can set up however you want, but there is going to be some cool stuff inside this box to reinforce that looking at your friends across the table setup that we love.
Yeah. Or playing with your enemies if you choose to befriend the Kutoa. Play D&D with a kraken. Whatever you play with. Yeah. Actually, and somebody in the chat, Trollish MC, just brought us something we should point out. We are also converting famous DCC adventures to 5e. So Sailors on the Starless Sea is an add-on, features a great ziggurat. Idols of the Rat King is an add-on, also converted to 5e, and The Lost Vault of Sathzar Row by Mike Merles is also an add-on. The famous story of that adventure, it was number 2 in the DCC series like 17 or 18 years ago. And that's when I learned not to name adventures with unpronounceable NPC names. So that's how we created the rule. Don't name adventures The Lost Vault of Sathzar Row. Anyway, those are all available as add-ons. Famous adventures now converted to 5e. Chris, there's the Compendium of Dungeon Crawls too, right? 2 hardcovers
Yes.
of 5e adventures.
Yep, number 5 and number 6. So each of those will include 15 shorter adventures. You could probably play them in 1 or 2 sessions. Lower level adventures, most of them are for first or second level characters. 10 in each book, 5 in each book are for third and fourth level characters. And those are also converted from some of our classic products back in the Wild West 3.5 edition days when you could do anything. I guess we can still do anything, but just felt like it was Wild West back then. So plenty of opportunities from, in addition to all of the famous ones that we're talking about, Idols of the Rat King and Sailors and Lost Vault. Lost Vault, ironically, that's the first adventure that I purchased of Goodman Games, and how I met you, Joe, at Origins all those years ago.
2000
and let me get this right,
something
because
like
my kid was born this year, 2003. It was
2003,
right after
okay.
my kid was born. So
It's a long time ago, man.
yeah, yes, too long.
Yes.
Yeah, but long.
Yes. And those adventures, Compendium of Dungeon Crawls, both have adventures by Harley Stroh, Brendan LaSalle, other names
Yep.
you'll recognize. Originally written way back when, now converted to 5e. And Chris, you want to tell everybody, just in case you're watching this on a budget, we have a printed adventure you can buy for only $2, and that's real. That's not a joke. Not
Yeah.
£2, not $2 like Canadian dollars, $2 like American dollars. Sorry, Will.
I think it'd be 4 of ours.
Tell them about it, Chris.
Yeah, so this is the go check the cushions of your couch, because you might actually have enough money for an actual adventure. And it is fully designed adventure. I actually ended up writing it, which was awesome. It was actually a lot of fun. It's got 10 fully designed encounters. It's got 2 maps. It's got a player's handout. It's got a couple of new monsters in there, and 1 new magic item. So anyway, this is a great, if you're, like I said, if you're not familiar with this, you're on the fence, $2 and you'll get this adventure. And it's, full color art, the whole 9 yards. And it's really, we designed it to kind of be exactly like our other adventures in our product line, so that you can get a really good feel for it and everything. And I filled it with lots of classic, very tropey encounters. I made sure there's a green slime in there. So it's like, yeah, I think folks are really gonna like it. So and I had a blast writing it over the holidays. So I had a little bit of downtime, and it was just a blast. So
Yeah. we always get people at Gen Con or, seeing us at somewhere saying, hey, maybe want to check this out, but, don't want to spend all the money. $2, anybody can do it. So
Mhm.
check it out. if
All
you're
that
not-
for $2. And like I say, typically you can't buy a bottle of water for $2 anywhere, and the water you're only renting. So you're gonna keep this book. We're not taking it away after you run the adventure. So this goes on your shelf or whatever. There's no rental here. Although that's an interesting thing. We should rent it. No, we shouldn't. So
And then we have
Awesome.
Trollish MC in the chat is like queuing us right up. Chris, tell them about Advanced Advantage. What the heck is this thing, and why are we giving away a D24 to early bird backers?
okay, yeah, people are probably really confused by why if they back the first 2 days that they're gonna get a free die 24. Like, what the heck is the difference? First of all, if you do nothing else, it's like it's another die. It's an actual physical die if you back us at a physical level, I believe it is. So who doesn't need more dice, especially dice that have a crazy number of sides on them? Okay, so that's the first thing. But we do have a use for the die. So we are creating our own we call it it's a 5e rule set, but it's really an enhancement. It's not replacing 5e. It's just kind of us tinkering around with some of the core rules of 5e. We have a lot of really cool ideas. We admit that some of them might be half-baked and have
But
not
we're gonna
been
keep baking. We're not done
Well,
baking.
yeah, we're still bait. That's the awesome thing about this is so this is playtest packet number 1. Ooh, foreshadowing. So we just reveal a couple of small little rules in this playtest packet, and they have to do all about the 5e advantage / disadvantage system and a different way to use it. And spoiler alert, since we're spoiling everything, use the die 24 in that. Instead of rolling 2 die 20s and taking the high number, you're going to be moving up and down what we call the dynamic dice progression, or the dice train is what I like to call it. Choo-choo, everybody get on board, advanced advantage. We're going for a ride. So yeah, so we're really excited about it. And a lot of people are right off the bat are going to say, well, rolling 2 die 20s is not as good as rolling a die 24. Don't worry, we have thought about that. We did say that some of our ideas are half-baked, but hopefully this one's not one of them. You can get advantage more than once, and you can go up and down that dice progression several times. So maybe you'll be rolling a die 30, or maybe you'll get a lot of disadvantage and you'll be rolling a die 12. So we got a lot of cool stuff. But the awesome thing about this is if you get on board this campaign, you'll have the opportunity to. It's an add-on, right, Joe? Making sure I'm not saying something that's not.
It's
true.
a really cheap add-on. It's included
Yep.
in a lot of the pledge levels for like $1 or $2.
Yeah.
We want people to just check this out and start playing
Yep.
our homebrew 5e with us.
But if you check it out and if you get the rules, you will have the opportunity to actually provide feedback to us, and hopefully you'll run it at your game table and provide us with some awesome feedback so that we can make it even better and even cooler. And like I said, this is playtest packet number 1. There will be 3 more playtest packets coming throughout 2025, and then each one's going to add on another different rule or different way to play the game. So not, again, emphasizing not replacing the 5e core books, it's add-ons. It's basically just reimagining the ways to do things, giving players even more choices. So hopefully you guys like what you see in there, and we in the next course of the next year and a half that we have a great conversation with the fans, and we work really hard to bring out a really, really amazing book at the end of all of this.
That's awesome. Yeah. And speaking of D24s, if you pledge now, today in the first 24 or 48 hours, you get a free D24 with your pledge to use with your Advanced Advantage playtest pack. Chris, they also get a free 2-page Underdeep Delve if anybody who pledges in the first 2 days. And that's also an add-on item, the book of 2-page Underdelves, I think you called it. What the heck are those things?
So we rolled these out during our Dungeon Denizens campaign. These are 2-page adventures, and they're very specifically 2 pages so that when you open up the book, page 1, page 2, you're seeing the entire adventure, 1 piece of artwork, 1 map. And it's usually about 3 to 5 encounters. Now, from a 5e standpoint, there generally isn't enough room to show stats. So a lot of them are going to be the generic creatures from the core books and everything. But that's fine. I think there is at least 1 that does have a full stat box. We did manage to cram a full stat box in there. But there's 3 to 5 encounters, and these are perfectly suitable to play in a one-shot session. If there's one thing, especially from stores we've heard over the years, is they want things that are playable at conventions, in hotel rooms when they're at a convention, and also in game stores. Game stores, they don't want, I mean, they do want, they want 400-page box sets because they love them too. But it's not easy to run a 400-page
You
box
can't demo it. You can
at a game
demo.
store.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, a year, I mean, hopefully the game store stays open for the whole year, you know, but if you get together every week, you can do it. But what they do like is they like those quick one-shots where on Free RPG Day or DCC Day or something, they can roll out, a game master can grab something and run at a great experience all in, you know, in 2 or 3 hours time. And it's amazingly popular. It's hilarious. I have to share this. You know, when Joe pitched this to us 2 years ago or whatever, I hated the idea because, you know, I love 400-page box sets. I love big, long, sprawling things. I'm like, a 2-page adventure, nobody's gonna like that. I'm wrong. And I've actually written a few of them, and I have to admit, they're actually fun to write, and they're a challenge to write, because you really have to, the economy of words there. You can't like mess around and do 3 paragraphs of read aloud text and everything.
No, I mean, so
And-
Chris, I gotta jump in. I'm gonna show something. Some of you in the chat may recognize this. If you know what this is forbidden lore. If I show you this and you recognize it, don't let your brain be blasted. But some of you may have seen this back in the day, or seen this back in the day, and understand some of the inspirations for this project. But what's amazing about these adventures is there is so much adventure packed into, what is this, 16 pages?
Yeah,
1/6.
that's the longer
16
one.
pages.
The other
That's
2
the
are
long-
8 pages. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. The economy of words, the economy of adventure. You don't need sprawling this, that, and the other to make amazing adventures. You know, it's just
Yeah.
you don't. And as 2-page Underdelves has proven, you can get awesome adventures in a pretty tight, a tight format, tight encounters. You know,
Because the amazing part is usually at the game table when you're gathered with your
Yes.
friend playing. That's the amazing part. You can literally take a couple of, you know, little short little encounters, and it could be a whole evening of amazing play. And it's really all about the interaction between your game master and your players to make the memories and everything, not the words on the book. I always look at adventures as kind of like a recipe. You know, it's, you're using it to kind of, you know, just kind of get the feel of what the story is and everything and the plot. Yes, there's rules and everything in there that are needed, but for the most part, it's just guidelines that need to be
Yeah.
used.
yeah. I saw in the chat 20 sides to every story. Appreciating this. I think that's Alex. If I remember correctly, Alex, I heard you had a kid, so congratulations. And speaking as a parent myself, yeah, I have 2 kids. You know, a job. I never have enough time. So the idea of a 2-page concise adventure is like just what I need at this stage of my life. You know, when
Perfect.
I'm older and I have like, it's not like when I was in middle school and I had the whole summer free, you know, and when I'm retired, I plan to go to my D&D retirement home and play like my epic campaigns. By the way, we'll be crowdfunding that in 70 years. But
And
in the
we are
meantime-
funded. We are funded
excellent.
in
Yay.
23
Woo.
minutes. Everybody, thank you so very much. That
That's
went
amazing.
very quick. So
Awesome.
yeah, we are already working on stretch goals. Woohoo!
That's great.
Very
Cool. Yeah. But anyway, that's the 2-page Underdelves. Great format. Great project. Great product.
Is it time to look at some cool art? I mean,
Uh,
we're talking about this Underdelves. I know we're going out of order, but I saw Will pick something up in his
Yeah.
hand.
uh-oh. Does Will have more art?
Maybe. Do you,
I don't think you'll be able to see this though.
yeah. Atlanta, can you pop up the image that I sent most recently? All right,
Look
cool.
the back, Will. Let's see the back.
Yeah. I
Illus-
think that
Illustration board.
we're going to get into this in a little bit, but art preview for there's going to be a whole associated with this campaign. There's a whole book of 2-page Underdelves. And we told Will, hey, we need a cool Underdelve image. It's got to be in the deep, dark, scary underground. It should include monsters that are appropriate to it, and also monsters that are going to appear in some of these delves. And he killed it. What you're looking at on his screen is doesn't do justice to some of the weird, creepy colors that this final image has, but it's on the screen. If you're on YouTube, you can see it now. Anyway, back
It's
to the
amazing.
plan. It is amazing. Yeah. And
Thanks.
once again, so small considering so much detail in there. It's
There's original sketch. I don't know if you can see that at all.
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You know, we should do maybe if we, okay, this is how we get into trouble because I start,
Yeah,
speculating
maybe
on
you
stretch
should, maybe
goals.
you shouldn't say this out loud.
maybe I should. I know. Take a note. I
Yeah.
was like,
Wait,
That-
more work
that-
for Chris coming. Hang on.
Yeah, actually, this is Matt work, but Will, your
Oh.
sketches are amazing. Like they're almost like finished images. I feel like if we do a stretch goal book, we should show like sketch image right next to final. And
Oh, yeah.
Stefan, you showed us your process on one of the other shows. Like we should totally
Mhm.
do like
Uh-huh.
various iterations, and then how the art comes to be, because it's really cool seeing it that way.
Oh,
It
that
is
was
cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
Inside
And-
of a ziggurat.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're real excited. So the underdelves, just the utility of the underdelves. So they obviously are going to be the 2-page delves, but they're all going to be set in the Underdeep. So one of the chapters of the book is this long journey. This journey, I think it's like 100 miles through the Underdeep, and we have encounters along the way because we do. However, it's like giving you a whole book of like 20 more underdelve deeps that you could plug in and put in wherever you want is just perfect in my opinion, because it's just game masters are going to be able to look at that and be like, oh, I want this. Oh, I want to use this one. Oh, this one's really cool. I got to use this one. And they're being done by a bunch of different designers. So they're all going to have a different feel to them and everything. And are we there? We're going to open up some slots to backers as well. Correct?
Oh, we're giving it all away? Let's give it all away.
We'll give it all away. Yes. So I know. Are we? I don't know. But at
Let's
some
give it all
point-
away. Yeah.
Yes,
So
so-
the idea is that we have stretch goals, and if we clear through them, we would like to give backers the opportunity to participate as well. We did that on Dungeon Denizens, and we actually got some amazing monster submissions.
We
So
did.
somewhere throughout this project, as we sort of tick off the stretch goals and hopefully make it there, we're going to give backers a chance to submit 2-page underdelves.
Yes. So we are excited about that because I am still working with some of those folks that designed monsters for Dungeon Denizens. They have become utilized for other things that we have need projects and everything. So yeah, so very excited to work with some new, fresh folks.
Now this art is still on the screen. Will, I want to say what I see, and you tell me if I'm right, because there's so much detail in this, but I see a crazy roper in the back.
Mhm.
And then it looks like is that a myconid or some sort of fungal man, like coming out of the
Yeah.
backlit cavern, and then a lizard man maybe beside him on the other side.
Those are Kuatoa.
Those are cool.
Oh
The
yeah,
fish-
okay.
Fish boys there.
Yep.
Fish boys.
Fish dudes.
And then there's a green slime. I don't know if you can see that on the far.
Oh, like the
Mhm.
upper right, maybe? Is that the green slime? Like
Yeah,
rippling
this-
off?
this
Yeah.
is- And then there's fossils in the stonework.
Oh yes, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually yes, I have in my office at home. I actually have some fossils. I got like a fossil store.
Trilobites?
Yeah, I have 2 trilobites.
Yeah.
And he got a nautilus there too. I see.
Yeah. And then there's a
Cool.
tentacle coming out of the water. And then you just see the hooks of the hook horror coming in.
Yeah.
Mm,
From the
Looks
looks
chat
like a
here.
tentacle, but it's not. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there is a tentacle in the water, and then there's the two
Yeah.
big hooks. Yeah.
And then they got piercers kind of hiding in the background
yes.
too.
Piercers.
Oh, now I
That's
see
great.
it. Those are subtle. Yeah.
Very cool.
That's their
First time
whole
I
thing.
painted
They're
it.
not supposed to be obvious.
Yes, exactly.
No.
Kind of spoils the surprise.
And I
Uh,
like you got a little spider like crawling around between her
Yeah.
legs at the front, and I see at least 2 skeletons.
Yeah.
Or I guess 1 skeleton, 1 skull.
That's the first time I've painted a female dwarf. There. They look like the old grenadier miniatures. I don't know if you remember that. With the
Yes.
big, huge hands and the huge heads.
Yes. She looks like that character from Rings of Power. I feel like was she
Mm.
inspired? I'm blanking on the name, but the woman who's like the wife of the king, or the wife of the king's son. Maybe
Oh,
that's.
is that from
you
the
know-
first season? I haven't seen the second season yet.
I think she's in the first
First.
season.
She's in both seasons. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
remember her name. Durin the second's wife.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh,
Late
this is
night
great.
last night though, getting that done.
Yeah, Gary nailed it. Disa. Disa is her name.
Decent. Okay. Yeah. That's right.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this is great, man.
That is great. Really cool. All right, I derailed us from the plan just for a second, but
We all derailed it.
Yeah,
so.
that
No, it's a
covered
good.
We're
most
just so
of it.
it's a good
excited.
derail.
Mhm.
There's so much awesomeness.
All right, wait. Let's finish walking through the basics of the project, because I feel like we forgot. Well, first of all, we forgot the t-shirts. You can
Mhm.
you can get a t-shirt. Giants hit harder. Everybody show off your t-shirt. So
Funny
I feel like
story. Mine showed up
Uh,
an hour and 3 minutes before our show.
yeah. You know, we almost had a cheer going there, guys. Maybe we need a
Yeah.
A
cheer.
Do the
wave.
wave. That's
A
a
wave.
Yeah.
yeah.
What's the order? Wait, he goes, me, Chris. Okay, your turn, Chris. Matt, you're up. Okay. Anyway, now good job, Stefan.
I mean, that's entertainment, YouTube. You're welcome.
Where else are you gonna get that?
If you like this, like and subscribe. If you can't stand seeing us do a wave, don't like and subscribe. Then we also have the miniatures. Elena, if you can show, I think it's image number 7. The minis turned out amazing. I have mine that I did not glue together. Chris actually glued his together. I haven't had time.
Yes.
So look at the size of these. These are 28mm scale. And if you look at what Chris is showing, see the human cultist on the base. That is, you know, a quote normal sized human for scale. So these really are 28mm scale, which means they're enormous. I believe these are one of the very few, you know, storm, cloud, frost scale giants available on the market, and they look amazing on tabletop.
They do.
And Chris, you have these. These are basically NPCs from the adventure, if I remember correctly. So you have them statted up. Yeah. And in the launch process or the pre-launch process, backers got to vote on, let's see, I think it was the power of the trident and her cloak for the magic powers. And they're sculpted. Yeah. So she is holding, the one Chris is holding, those are mammoth tusk scimitars. So to give you a sense of scale, show her helmet, Chris, if you can get it in the screen. Her helmet is actually a mastodon skull, which she's putting on her head. And these have lots of good scale indicators because you don't want a giant to just look like a big human. So in her case, it's and then for him, do you want to tell him about it? It's easier.
Yeah, so his crown is actually made of, it's hard to tell. My
It's
light.
easy to tell with a miniature, but with this light,
Yeah,
it's hard.
it's a bunch of swords, and they're actually like long swords and short
Human scale
swords, and that
swords.
make part of his and same with his belt. His belt buckle is a shield, so it's like a human sized shield. So, and then obviously we put the little cultist at his feet to also tell you the scale and everything. But yeah, so you just set these things down next to your regular, and that's what I did for this one. This one I put one of my little painted minis on, and that's just how big they are in comparison. So we're really excited how these guys came out. And her tiara is made of human skulls, which is not creepy at all.
In the painted version, you can see them clearly, and also her belt, especially on the back, has human skulls. So you get a sense of like how big she is when you see how big a human skull is next to her.
I'm just amazed how close you got those to the drawings, original drawings that I have.
Oh, show off the drawings.
Yeah,
That's
show
right,
them
because
off.
Will did the concept sketches.
Holy, like I'm so excited when I finally get those things.
Yeah. No, your drawings were perfect. If I remember correctly, Chris, you and Rick, one of the other authors, were the ones who actually like brainstormed the concepts, and then Will took them, you know, made them come together, brought them to life.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they also work for if you just want a really cool storm giant mini. Like you don't have to have them for this adventure, but we did kind of base them off of the characters in the adventure. And like Joe said, during the lead up to the campaign, we were doing polls to let the fans decide what the special abilities of the storm giant's trident were going to be, for example, like because it's a magic trident. And I think we landed on it was going to be a trident of desiccation. So I need to go back into the files and actually change that because we had a magic trident in there, but it was like a placeholder. So we're actually, based on your guys' feedback, we're actually changing the adventure around based on the polls and everything, which is fun. It's just fun to do. I mean, this is the taking advantage of some of the amazing things that crowdfunding lets us to do, and community engagement is definitely one of those. So we're all in on it.
Actually, and speaking of that, when you pledge for this, you'll be asked to join a team Cloud Giant, Frost Giant, or Storm Giant. And then you're going to get trivia. I think the first trivia question is live. Nobody spoiled the answer, but once you pledge, you'll get a chance to answer the trivia. And at the end of the project, we'll do something cool for whichever team wins. And the teams that lose will be fed to the Kraken. So, well,
how it goes.
Yeah, it's D&D, man. So no, but we'll do something cool for the backers or whatever team wins. Maybe put their names in the book or something like that. So answer the trivia along the way. Some of them are going to be the kind of stuff that you can like Google and maybe figure out. But Chris has some real doozies in some of the trivia he cooked up. So some of this is going to be You got to dive deep to get the answers right.
I tried to get things that you can't just do a Google search and it'll pop up. There's probably a few in there that'll be that way, but it's always cool to try and stump people on trivia questions as far as like make them really dig for it. So
Yeah. Oh, we got a good question in the chat. The minis are unpainted. We will actually add that to the FAQ. You see the beautiful painted ones on the screen, but they are unpainted when you buy them.
Yeah, the ones that are painted that we're looking at are beautiful. And Chris, I think you said you had to assemble yours, but
yes.
is it true
So-
that the ones that fans will get will come assembled, or do they
I
need built as well?
do not
Good
know,
point.
but the only
They have
things that
to-
we had to assemble was this
Yeah.
guy's one arm. Actually, just two
Ah.
arms were the only things, and then on the bases were loose. I'm not sure if that's the way they just sent them to us or.
No, the bases
Gotcha.
are loose. So let me make sure I'm talking about these right. The Frost
Yep.
and the Cloud Giant, only after you have to put in the base
Yep.
is the Storm Giant that has arms and a cultist that have to be attached.
Nice. Okay, great. Even I could do that. That's great. That's great.
Yeah. So I feel like since Stefan's here and he's been so patient, we got to talk about Krakens. But
Yeah, we
should we lead with that crazy barrelfish? Chris, Elena, did
Yeah,
you
we
guys
can.
have that photo? Because we got to explain.
Yep.
First, we got to. So, Chris, for those who don't know, was an aquatic biologist. Aquatic is fancy science talk for water. He was an aquatic biologist way back in the day before.
But even before that, I was always fascinated with the ocean and sharks
Yeah.
and all kinds of cool stuff. So it predates my 30 years as an aquatic biologist before I then threw that career into the trash, lit it on fire, and joined Goodman Games.
Where he is now
For the
managing
security that
aquatic
the-
biology into our
for the
world.
security that the game industry offers. So
Yes.
Threw it in the trash and cast fireball, I think is probably
Yes.
how.
right on it.
Okay.
Flame
So let-
strike actually probably be better. So
Lower strike, lower level. Yeah.
yep. So
Let's show the barrelfish. And this is a real fish. You're not looking at Chat GPT. You're not looking at AI. This is not Steven Spielberg. This is a real thing. Chris, tell us about this crazy fish you discovered.
So it's amazing the crazy creatures that live in the dark abyss. We know this is just fact, but you know, we know as humans, we know more about what's going on the surface of the moon than we do at the bottom of some of the oceans. I mean, we're getting better. We're getting technology that we can get down there and actually check with autonomous rovers and whatnot. But it's just the fact that there's a lot of crazy, weird creatures down there that are being discovered. Anglerfish with crazy teeth and everything. So when we were designing the Kraken, that was the first place I went to. Was like, oh, I bet you, there's all sorts of cool creatures that we could use for inspiration. And the barrel eye fish was one of the first that came up. And you can see it's got this dome head that looks like it's transparent, and you can see like organs or whatever the heck that is in there. It's the sea and everything.
Limes
It's
or something.
yeah,
I'm not
it's
sure.
it's
Yeah.
an actual creature. They'd caught them in nets before and brought them up to the surface, but then when they do that gelatinous thing just breaks down because it's down at depths. It's like equilibrium with the water pressure, and then when it comes up to the air, so they didn't know. They were like, well, what is this? It's like a fish with half a head or something. But then when they finally got pictures of it, it made sense, and they're like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be all about. So we saw that. And I remember sharing that picture on one of our early brainstorming meetings because we were talking, we had a Kraken, the Kraken was created, but we just, it was just a Kraken. We tweaked the stats a little bit, but, it got time to where we're like, we need to actually, what is the Kraken going to look like? And that's when we went to the inspirations of all these different crazy looking creatures and everything. And the barrel eye fish came up, and I remember I shared that on a Zoom call, and everybody was like, that is messed up and we got to do it. So and we thought about doing that for the head cultist, but I already had some ideas for the head cultist. So I said, why don't we just make the Kraken have that crazy looking head? And they were like, yes. So you're getting not just the Kraken from the pages of the monster manual, you're getting a crazy Kraken.
That is a great segue. Elena, if you can show Stefan's crazy Kraken, then I feel like that should be the name of a KFC basket.
Yeah.
Well,
Barry's
I
on
think-
there too. Look up glass octopus. There are so many amazing creatures down there. Most of them are like all mouth and all stomach, and there's a very real reason for that, is because they don't know when they're going to get their next meal. So they need to eat whatever they can and slowly digest it because they might not eat again for weeks. So it's it's funny. We have a certain image in our head of what a fish should look like, and these crazy things are insane. I don't know if you've seen on the California coast, oarfish, the indicators of a tsunami. Oarfish are like 50 or 60 feet long, and it's just this big, long fish with these, crazy looking fins and everything. And they live at depth, so they very rarely come up to the surface. And when they do come up to the surface, it's almost like Godzilla when the fish come up. When Godzilla's around, if you've seen Godzilla -1, it's like the same thing. If an oarfish washes up, it's supposed to be an indicator of like a disaster coming or Godzilla's coming or something. So,
Wow. All right, so we have Stefan's image on the page. Stefan, tell us about your transparent dome kraken.
Oh, this was really a really fun image to work on. We started off with the concept of the prison there, which was the inside of a ziggurat, and so we had to sort of work up a creature, looming in there with his I guess it's his semi-human handler or priest or intercessor. So I had a lot of fun building, because I couldn't figure out how to draw an inside-out ziggurat. So I had to build one out of foam core to just sort of get an idea of what it looked like, and that was actually a lot of fun. I think I'm going to do a lot more of that in the future, because it really helped me sort of envision how to put the creature in there and how to make it look cool. And then the Kraken was rising up, and I went through a couple of different iterations of the Kraken, and we sent them back and forth, and then finally we came up with the one with that big gelatinous grotesque head, which hopefully will horrify your players all night long.
I love this image we're looking at, and I will further say that that's one of those special things about working for Goodman Games is there's so many creative people with so many different crazy skills, and everyone's bringing something to the table. So Chris will say, "I got a cool idea," and Stefan says, "Do you think that's cool? Check this out." And then Chris's team will come up with something else, and there's push back and forth, and things just get better and better and better. And I think that was totally the case with this. As you said, Stefan, we saw a couple different iterations of this thing, but this cover is phenomenal. And also I've heard that you're going to bring your ziggurat shell to Gen Con and sign it for any fan who wants to purchase your foam core work. Is that accurate?
I doubt it would survive the car ride.
I see. Okay.
Show us, dude. You got to show us your like homemade ziggurat.
Okay, give me a second. I got to go
Cool.
get it.
Okay.
Right. Sounds great.
Yeah. So to get the perspective right, what you guys are looking at here is the inside of a ziggurat with a, where the Kraken hangs out, and like Stefan said, he actually built one to get the. I mean, not many of us have looked inside a ziggurat to get the perspective right.
That's dedication to your art.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
I was like,
There you
"Holy."
go.
there it is.
That's
There
amazing.
it is. And so this is the part that matters, right? So you can
Mhm.
look in there and kind of get an idea of, oh, that's what the inside of a ziggurat looks like.
Really cool.
That's great.
Yeah, I probably should have built one when I was creating the map for that encounter because I was having trouble mapping it out as well, and I'm like I'm just the map turned into some sketches and some description of this is what it is supposed to be. So, because again, even I was having trouble. I knew what I meant in my head, but I couldn't get it on paper effectively.
Yeah.
So might have to. That map, when we get to that map, we might have to go through a couple of iterations on that.
Nice.
Well, I can send you the ziggurat there, Chris.
You should sell the plans for building your own ziggurat. Put them at like Joanne's Fabric next to like the plans for making a child's apron or whatever. So, Chris, tell us about this room that we're looking at from an encounter perspective. What the heck is going on in this like ziggurat jail?
So this is the climatic encounter. If you play all 9 chapters and go through the entire saga, as we call it, this is the final encounter. And it's basically it's in the middle of the Dark Sea, which is an ocean in the Underdark. And it's a ziggurat on an island. But it's hollow, so imagine it's hollow on the inside, and it was a former drow prison. And the cultist there, the head cultist, was actually once a prisoner in the ziggurat a few years ago. And then he actually the kraken actually helped break him out by creating a tsunami, which basically, think of a tsunami, it raises the water level up. The water level, there's water in the bottom of the ziggurat, so it's connected, underneath there's caverns and that underneath. So the water level goes up, and it basically killed all the drow and all the prisoners. All the prisoners were stuck behind bars, so almost all the prisoners died, but the one guy escaped. And that's how he became one with the kraken, and the kraken saved him. And then, basically that's how the story goes. So I was looking for a really, really evocative, interesting final encounter. And we've, at Goodman Games, we've done ziggurats before, but I'm like, what about the inside of a ziggurat? And it was really cool. I wanted the cells to be along the entire walls on the inside, and then there's no platform to stand on, because the drow would just levitate prisoners up and down
That's
into the
awesome.
cells. So it's like, if you got out of your
Yeah.
cells, then you had to deal with like 100-foot drop into the water, and then there was nasty creatures into the water, and then you still were kind of stuck in a prison. So you were pretty much not getting out. And of course, the drow did all sorts of nasty things to the prisoners and tortured them and whatnot. But they got their comeuppance when the kraken got them, and just replaced them with another evil. So it's a good place for the kraken to be hanging out until he escapes the Underdeep, which is what his ultimate goal is. And there's
That's
a whole
awesome.
really cool backstory about all of that and everything. So it came out great.
That's
It's
cool.
really good. So
Why didn't we do a kraken miniature? Now that I'm
we talked about doing a kraken miniature, but then krakens are like 90 feet long, whereas this guy is 26 feet tall. So do that math.
I guess it's basically
Why-
like a big, like 3/4 of it is like a giant slug. It's only the front part that's exciting.
Yeah. So
yeah.
we discussed it. It was just, we also didn't want to bite off too much, that we already, the fact that we're not doing regular sized minis and
know.
doing giant minis, we were like, that's probably good enough. But hey, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I know. If you
Could
like
be
the
a
minis,
sequel.
pick some up, because if we do enough of these, there'll be more.
Yes.
I like Kenneth Jacobs' comment in the chat. Yes, it is a story about a boy and his kraken. That's really what this adventure is about.
That really is. That really is.
Yeah. Actually, we forgot to talk about one thing. Elena, can you show, I think it's the second image, the clamshell box. Totally forgot to mention this, everybody.
Yes.
I'm gonna, first of all, this is a great book, Art and Arcana. If you haven't gotten it, pick it up. Great. Oh, Matt got his copy. History of D&D art.
could
Really
not.
cool. I know. And it's also, last time I checked, it was on like super sale on Amazon. So, but the reason we're showing you this, Stefan. Yeah, it's a good book. It has an amazing box. Really, we're here to talk about the box. So we open this up. It's got this amazing clamshell box. This is like the fancy edition. So as you know, here at Goodman Games, we like our foil and our leatherettes, and we were just basically talking about how do we sort of take it to the next level for a box set. So when you buy the box set, you can pay $20 to upgrade to the clamshell box upgrade. It'll be this basic format. In about a week and a half, I'll get a sample from the printer that'll actually fit the exact specs of what we're putting inside, but it'll be this basic approach of the double hinges, the clamshell. You can actually set this on a table and use it as a GM screen. So
Yeah,
we're talking
we're
about doing
talking
print
about
something.
we're talking about doing some, maybe that's another good stretch goal. Do something cool on the inside of the box to make it useful.
Yeah, exactly. You can have, obviously this will have, art, maybe this has, I don't know, tables, something like that. Anyway, so if you're interested, upgrade to that. We're not planning to put this through distribution or retail. This is really the first time we've ever done it. If it turns out great, maybe for future projects, we'll do some version of that. But initially, this is just something we're going to try out for, I don't know, for this project and see how it goes.
And if it crashes and burns, we will never talk about it again.
Yes. Like all the other things we never talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I should mention too, for these minis, there's a company called Strange Plastic that helped us with these. If you ever need miniatures, Google Strange Plastic. They do great work there. So it's, one-stop shop for everything. The sculptor is Sylvain Ing and the painter is Sam Curran, and they did an amazing job. And we got a question in the chat a way back. Somebody wanted to know about buying STLs, like the files to do 3D prints. And this time we're not offering those. This is our first sort of foray into the water, and we got to make sure we can make the basic concept work. If these do well, backers like them, we do more in the future, then we'll probably also dive into the world of STLs and, you know, print them at home and that kind of stuff.
And you mentioned some cool artwork inside that box, Joseph. That reminded me of the poster map. Is another
Oh,
thing that
yes.
potentially is going to be inside that. I think that's one more visual we should probably share before we're done.
And I think that's number 3 in the files, Elena, poster map by Aaron Crater, who couldn't be here today because he had, like, I don't know, work or something.
Yeah, to make money. It's ridiculous.
I know. Art must come first. Yeah. So Matt, you want to like pretend you're Aaron and talk about his art?
Well, I think that, you know, Chris did a good job the other day of kind of giving us some context for the region. And they went back and forth a little bit, I know, because as Chris mentioned, there are different giant encounters over the course of this overland map that hopefully is going to end up not only fold out, but maybe like a double fold out. Like I'm hoping this thing ends up like 11 by 22. No, wait, 17 by 22 whenever it's done. So it's nice and big at the table. In any case, I know that you have different giant encounters, different places on this map. And I don't think all of them are necessarily set in stone, no pun intended, on where your players will find them. Is that right, Chris?
That is correct. So the cool thing about the giant adventures is we have 6 different designers, one for each giant, and that came out great. And that was really a conscious decision to get them out to 6 different writers and say, we want 6 different really cool ideas. And they came out in spades. Actually, I was telling, I think on the preview show, that when the original proposals came back, 4 of the giant layers were mobile. They moved around. And I was like, wow, that's a great idea. And I'm like, I think 1 or 2 should move around, but I think 4 out of the 6 moving around is probably too much. So I put the kibosh on 2 of them. And one was a really cool concept, but we ended up actually keeping it non-mobile. But we do have 2 of the layers are mobile. We have the Cloud Giant Fortress, which it's not really a castle. It's been described to me more as kind of like the Avengers dropship, hover ship thing or whatever, but cloud giants are on it. And then we have the Frost Giant lair, which is a giant iceberg towed around the bay by a dragon turtle. So, and there's a whole backstory between like the dragon turtle and everything.
That's
and
awesome.
Dragon turtle, you can actually become allies with the dragon turtle, and actually, you know, there's a whole thing about that too. So, so that's our 2 layers, and we were sure when we came to creating the map. I remember Aaron was like, well, where's the Frost Giant lair and where's the Cloud Giant lair? And I'm like, well, that's a great question, because I'm like, they move around. So we just kind of arbitrarily put them, and I think we're going to put a note, and obviously in the adventure, it'll be pretty obvious that they're not in that fixed location and everything, but all the other 4 are in. We wanted to give kind of a region, an area, because it does kind of matter, since the adventures are all kind of connected with each other, that there should be some logical parts. So we came up with the Northlands, and then we set the adventures in there, and then the Underdeep is underneath all of the Northlands. And that's going to be another poster map that's not done yet, but there will be another huge poster map showing off the journey through the Underdeep. And then one more poster map, because we love our poster maps, of what we call the Sunken City, which is a ruined ancient city in the Underdeep. Imagine a twisted alien-like version of Venice, but set in the Underdark, complete with canals and crazy-looking architecture and everything. That's a whole chapter of the book too, and that's where you really get into all those factions of the Underdeep, the Liches hanging out down there, and that's where you learn where the cult base is. I won't say exactly why. I told you where the cult base was. It's actually out in the Dark Sea on the island with the ziggurat. So, like I said, lots of really cool things. We really set this big huge box up to be so useful. You can just pick and choose and run. First of all, you can run the giant adventures in any order except for the storm giant one. That's the one that leads you directly to the Underdeep. So you can go and you can jump around, and I'm gonna do fire giants first, and then I'm gonna do hill giants, then I'll do cloud giants. There's ways to do all that. And then also, if you just want to pick out like, oh, I just need a cloud giant adventure, or oh, I just need this awesome map city in the Underdark, I'll grab that and I'll use that. So we really tried to make this as mostly as useful as possible if you don't run through the entire saga. We hope that you run through the entire saga and enjoy all of it, but you know, we understand that that's not practical at the same time.
Chris, Gary McBride just had a great comment in the chat. I would actually be happy if there were 2 punch-out tokens that represent the moving elements for the map. We're already going to have the punch-out inspiration tokens.
could do that.
We could totally do that.
Yeah.
That's a great
Very.
idea, Gary.
That's a brilliant idea. That is a brilliant idea. So yeah. So all right, I need to get you 2 more pieces of art, Matt.
Yeah. If only we had artists available.
Yeah.
real artists with real hands on real paint, and I think in the case of this map, real wives who help them color it when it's done.
Right. That's Aaron's secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's awesome. Really cool. That's a cool idea for sure.
Yeah. And then I think Aaron had I think it's a work in progress, right? But he was working on his Hill Giant cover, and you were going to show that. Am I remember this correctly?
Yep, totally the case. I think the one that Elena probably has worked up, it's been tweaked since then, and I think that there is a right place on the backer kit page that you might be able to see the finished piece. But regardless, yes, as Chris mentioned, there's 4 books inside this box set, 4 books of adventures and GM's helpers. And the first one in that series is a hill giant encounter, features a hill giant encounter, at least on its cover. And Aaron did that. So yeah, Elena, feel free to pop that up if you have it. I think that yeah, that's the one that's almost complete. But another great example of scale, as those big, smelly hill giants are about ready to crush those PCs with some rocks. I love the unibrow. I love there's so many aspects of those hill giants that are fantastic.
You're right, the unibrow. That totally seems appropriate. And D&D has not talked enough about hill giant unibrows.
Right. Yeah, you won't find any unibrows on the storm giant, that's for sure.
Not at all.
That's really funny.
Oh, an important comment in the chat. Someone just suggested that Harley is the world's shortest hill giant. Now, I don't think
who can say that and get away with it too.
The only one who can.
Yeah. I love you, Harley.
Yes, but Harley does not have a unibrow in his defense, just so we
I like the other thing I like about this image, if I'm interpreting it right, it looks like there's like a furrow in the ground from the last boulder thrown by a giant. Is that what I'm seeing in the foreground?
I think that's totally
like
right.
He threw it so hard it like plowed through the earth. Like that's awesome.
After plowing through a PC.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Who knows what's under that rock, right?
Actually, tell Aaron we need to get like an arm sticking out from under the rock. You know? Some like bloody smear marks.
Awesome.
That would be great.
I guess if we're talking about art and covers to these books, we also have a cover for the 3rd book ready to show. And that one was by Doug Kovacs, who's not on the call today. But this story is worth telling. If you want to pop that one up, Chris, Elena, then Chris can tell us all about the Draco Lich. And I can talk again about how I love any cartoon or comic strip where a character gets electrocuted and their flesh turns invisible and you can see the bones inside, which Doug sort of hinted at in this image.
Yeah, which is awesome. So there's a few creatures that are as iconic as the Draco Lich, going all the way back to the Forgotten Realms days and everything when I believe Ed Greenwood created the first Draco Lich and the whole cult of the dragon. So one of the encounters in the Underdeep as you're traveling through the Underdeep is this huge cavern with, of course, a stone bridge going over it because, you know, we had to do that. And there is a Draco Lich attack. And we wanted to, you know, when we were discussing what would be the great iconic images for the covers of the books, you know, I instantly thought of that one. I was like, oh yeah, we got to do that. Actually, there's a couple of dragons actually we could have chosen because this is high level play, but the Draco Lich I thought was perfect. And originally we were going to do a band of heroes, just like that hill giant encounter, where you see the giants working over the PCs. And we were like, wait a minute. It's like, let's make them fish dudes. Let's do the Koatoa instead. And let's basically have a band of Koatoa crossing the bridge and the Draco Lich is defending his territory and just going ham on him. And it's so awesome. It came out great. And Doug is just, you know, we explained it to Doug and we sent him I sent him a couple of sentences and he nailed it from the get-go and everything. And it's amazing. And I'm like, if I didn't just move into a brand new house and everything, I would give really, really strong consideration of purchasing the original piece of art. So if only Doug Kovacs was a starving artist. So, but anyway, it's just a really, really cool picture, and I think it's also behind Matt on his backdrop there. So
for
love
sure.
it.
Yep. Yep. And I think Doug made explicit in this image what we talked about being implicit in the last, where you can see a Koatua. I don't know.
Fish
That
man.
it's
Fish man, yeah,
fish
fish
boy.
dude.
Yeah, Will's
Yeah.
fish boy. A fish boy that got impaled by the Draculich there on the bridge.
Yeah, with his like claw.
Uh-huh.
And I think Chris mentioned this, but I love the fact that it's like monster on monster fight. You know, you will usually see
Yeah.
PCs fighting monsters, but it's cool to see monsters fighting monsters.
Yeah.
Totally is. That's another idea. All your players get to be fish boys and they go up again. I don't know, maybe not.
So I think somebody asked something in the chat that I feel like we need to clarify.
Yeah.
So if so there's a book called 2-Page Underdelves. If you pledge in the first days, you get an extra delve, so an extra 2 pages, but you don't get the whole book. That book is going to be, I want to say 24, 32 pages, something like that, a number of spreads that open up. And then we'll take all the content that is generated through stretch goals or bonus items and so on and print it separately. So if
Yep.
you pledge in the first 48 hours, which you all are if you're watching this and pledging, you're going to get probably, I don't have it handy, but like what we did with Dungeon Denizens was you got an actual card stock page that went into the stretch goal packet. And so in this case, instead of being a, 1 page, it'll be like a fold out with your 2-page delve.
Yep. If you
that's-
take a
yeah.
look at the upcoming achievements, stretch goals, achievements, and backer kit,
Yeah.
you'll see that they are add-on content. You'll see there are delves. Those delves are not going to be under delves. Those are going to be delves that are going to deal with additional giant layers. So hopefully, as we unlock the stretch goals, you'll actually be getting a 2-page delve on hill giants, a 2-page delve on storm giants. And I've already seen the storm giant one, and it came out awesome because it has to do with sharks. So anyway, so you're going to get a whole packet of basically a stretch goal book that will not be available in retail of all this extra content. So you're going to get an additional, if you back in the first day or first 2 days, Joe, is that what it
2
is?
days, 48 hours technically. Yeah.
You're going to get an additional 2-page delve that if you back, we still want you to back, 10 days into the thing, but if you back 10 days into it, you won't get that 2-page delve kind of added in. So so we're really excited about doing some fun stuff like that. And speaking of which, we are less than $1,000 from unlocking our first stretch goal. So which
Holy
is
smokes.
amazing. Yeah, we're just
That's
an
awesome.
hour into the campaign and we're already unlocking stretch goals, folks. This is great. I mean, this is off to an amazing start.
So, and to find the stretch goals, for those who are new to Backer Kit, you go to the community tab and you'll see like all updates, achievements, polls, discussions, click achievements. And then you'll find, speaking of Aaron Crater, he did some amazing art. So every stretch goal is illustrated. And then afterwards, we'll put those illustrations to use as probably in a handout booklet or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
We got to figure it out. But yeah.
Mhm.
And it was Chris's idea to make, I think it was your idea, to make the random giant bag contents for the first stretch goal.
Yes.
And you were going to do like a bunch of D100 tables or something.
No, we're gonna do die 24 tables, of course.
right.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
You gotta come on, we're giving you a die 24, you gotta use it. So don't worry, we've got a way in there that you can, if you don't have the die 24, you'll still be able to use the tables. But in the classic, hold up one of those adventures again, Joe, that you had, the classic ones. I believe in the hill giant one, if you go to like page 2 or something, there is a table of basically random stuff found in a giant's bag. And it's a neat little table.
God, this is 8 pages. I felt like
it's
maybe there was
8,
no
yeah.
adventure. I can't believe how short this adventure is.
it's
It is
8 pages.
8 pages.
The second one is like 12 pages, and
I felt like maybe it must have fallen out because it's so thin.
nope,
And it's
that's
like,
it. That's the whole thing. So, and like one whole column of one of those pages is a random table of random stuff, and it's not treasure, people. It's moldy cheese and stuff like that. So we love that idea. We thought that was really cool, but we're like, how do we make it better? And it's like, and I'm going to tell you how we make it better is we create a different table for each of the iconic giant types. So what's in a storm giant's bag is going to be there's no moldy cheese in a storm giant's bag. I'm going to tell you right now, moldy cheese and a goat head probably in the Hill Giant bag, but
Well,
there's
Storm Giants might have like, one of those French cheeses with like chives or something.
exactly,
You know,
exactly, yeah,
it's
something
like-
fancy, something
yeah.
upscale. So pretty much. So we have all different tables for the giants and everything. So that for each different giant, and that's just going to be amazing. It's we didn't have to do that, and we didn't have to like create that additional content, but it's cool. It makes it better. It makes it more useful. And it's just a little extra thing that we can add on and say like, hey, here now you've got even more stuff to do with your giant feet.
And frankly, I mean, now that I think about this box, like, first of all, a Giants table would fit perfectly as the
It
inside
would.
here.
Yes.
Dude, you could even print on the spine in theory.
Yeah.
Maybe do like some narrow table or something.
It's got to
yeah.
be really narrow, one word only.
Yes.
And that's it. We have cleared the first achievement.
Woo!
So
That's
just
great.
an hour and 5 minutes in, and we are already making this a better product for all you fans.
Yeah.
That's great.
Cool.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome. What's the next stretch goal? I don't remember. I gotta check.
Is that one of the delves? I think it's really hard for me to go to the achievement page on my tablet without
Here we
messing
go.
everything up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So another delve. Yeah. So just to be clear, if you guys are pledging back for the 2-page underdelves, that book is separate from stretch goals and early backer bonuses. And then as we clear these stretch goals, we're well on our way. We'll eventually compile it into a extra book or something. You know what? Actually, don't tell the Caverns of Thracia backers, but I've already got advanced copies of like half of that project. And I'm getting a giant box today that'll have advanced copies of the main book. But let me actually show off some of the Thracia advanced copies. I actually have them here. And while we're talking about this, I can show you the Thracia stretch goal book because that's the format similar to what we're going to do.
And how many pages was that stretch goal book, Joe?
What? I'm glad you asked, Chris.
Yeah.
It's like 72 pages. Hold on.
Yes.
I feel like
And how much did that stretch goal book cost the backers?
Why? I think it was. Wait, let me check. Oh, $0. That's right.
$0?
$0.
That's less than
folks.
$2 for an
That's
entire
awesome.
adventure.
I know.
Are we insane?
So if you pledge now, you save at least 10%, if not more. You get the free PDF, you get the 2-page underdogs, you get the D24, and you get whatever stretch goals we clear. So yeah, this is actually the advanced. So Caverns of Thracia is actually in the midst of being printed. So every day, it's a huge project with like 20 books. Every day I'm getting more samples sent to me. And we're racing against time to get it shipped out before Chinese New Year. That's the goal. If it ships out in time, we'll get it sooner. If we don't get it in time, we'll get it like 3 weeks later. But this is the Caverns of Thracia actually printed stretch goal booklet. It turned out great. The printed price is $16.99 for those who pick it up at Gen Con or whatever. If we have leftovers, backers got it for free. So this is how much. This isn't even all of it. This is most of the content that was generated through stretch goals and Caverns of Thracia. So what we're doing here for the 2-page underdelves, the bag of Hill Giant content, all that stuff will go into something like this for Terror from the Underdeep. Actually, while I'm here, so this is DCC 109, Beneath the Isle of Serpents with that amazing San Julian cover. Turned out awesome. And I have a box. This is the Joe Goodman roll randomly on the box as opposed to roll randomly in the Giants bag. Let's see what I pull out of my box beside me here.
I got my D24 ready. Let's see.
Okay,
Yes.
here we go.
Bag of
There we go. 5th edition fantasy, same adventure, Beneath the Isle of the Serpents, but the FEF version, beside the DCC version, converted. The printing turned out great. These are printed with, if you're looking for a printer, Regent is fantastic. They're the ones who printed this. Monsters and Magic of Thracia. This was the dual stat book.
Got some Will art on that one.
Yeah. Oh, good reminder. Will, would you like to pop quiz? That was when you painted this image.
like 2 years ago, probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, still sitting here.
Do you have the original there?
Yeah, I guess I can put it up for sale now, eh?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What I liked about this, it looks like you did paint it on some sort of textured material because you can see the texture come through.
Yeah, it's actually the plastic here. It's actually on a mat board. I was sort of channeling my inner Peter Mullen with
Wow.
the.
Yeah.
I cannot see it at all in this light, but it's yeah, you can. It's the big wraparound.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know what the other side's going to be used for, but the
The
Greek
other side,
hoplites and stuff fighting the Minotaur and the gnolls, and
Wow.
skeletons.
Yeah.
I think we did use both sides, and if I'm not mistaken, it adorns one of the end sheets as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to see the whole vista.
And I think here it is actually. Yeah. Sacrificial Pyre of Thracia. Let me hold these up. So this is DCC 110, the Sacrificial Pyre of Thracia. And it's the 2-page cover that, am I doing this right? I'm doing it like backwards.
Yeah.
No,
I
no.
think you got it. You got it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool. They form a 2-parter.
It is. It's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And there's, yeah, like Matt said, it's also the end sheets in one of the Thracia hardcovers. I forget which
Right.
one, but
Mhm.
yeah, it turned out great. Then we have the 5e version of Sacrificial Pyre of Thracia. And let's see, I don't actually have the Thracia hardcovers yet. Those are the advanced copies are coming, I believe it's today. What else is in this Giants bag here? Oh, Hellpit's a Night Thing. This, which we did 3 versions of. This is the DCC edition.
Mhm.
And then we have the FEF edition, printed as number 30, with more famous William McCausland art.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Vampire Night Thing.
Oh, it's neat to see.
Yeah. And then we also did this version, which has the original Adventures Reincarnated treatment, number 9.5, with the original Janelle Jackway's art. Which people love this sort of vintage look and feel. This one was actually very popular in the crowdfunding. I have a feeling it'll be popular in stores too.
Mhm.
It's the same contents inside, but different cover. And then we have, oh yeah, I showed you earlier the Lost Lore of Thracia. This is the stretch spell pack for Thracia. Here's the DCC edition, and I gotta make sure I put these together right. There we go. This was a Doug Kovacs 2-page cover. Which also makes up the end sheets in one of the books. See if I can get this right here. But also provides a 2-part cover if you happen to get both books.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So again, these stretch goal books, this is from Caverns of Thracia. If you pledge for Terror from the Underdeep, as we clear stretch goals, we put the content together into some sort of bonus book. It was 72 pages worth of bonus content for Caverns of Thracia that backers get for free. Depending on how this campaign goes, there will be some number of pages. We've already cleared a couple pages. There'll be more that backers will get for free as well.
So Shane's got a great question. Everybody's going to ask this question. What is the estimated turnaround time on this? Which is a great question, Shane. So if you've backed Goodman Games projects before in the past, you will note that we don't always deliver as quickly as possible because we're making them really cool. But if you also notice our last few campaigns that we've run, we have really tightened up the amount of time that it's taken from when we've crowdfunded to when we've gotten the books to the printer to when we've gotten them into your hands. So folks are getting the Dungeon Denizens books right now in their hands, and that was delayed. I forget how much it was delayed, but anyway, it wasn't as quick as we like to. I think we were like 10 months from when we ended the crowdfunding to when we got everything to the printer. When we did Grimtooth Traps, that was a smaller project, but we were like, I think we were 3 months from when we finished crowdfunding to when we did it. When we got to Caverns of Thracia, which was our last crowdfunding campaign to this one, we were 43 days from when we finished the campaign to when we actually sent everything to the printer. And as you can see right now, so that campaign ended up in, I'm going to say it was July.
Oh, that sounds
And
right. Yeah.
Yep, things
It
are,
ended, yeah.
you can see that Joe's got physical printed books of all of the pieces just about. So
Homes of
that's,
Adventure. Yeah.
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 So that one's coming soon. So so our goal on this one is to get everything. And when we say everything, we mean the Compendium of Dungeon Crawls, we mean all the skinny modules, we mean the inspiration tokens, the box set, the whole 9 yards to the printer, hopefully about 30 days after we finish crowdfunding. So we finished crowdfunding on February 11th. Hopefully by March 10th or so, the printer will have everything. Then there's several weeks / months of back and forth and going and everything. And then they hit the print button. And then they get onto the slow boat and they come over. So, you know, we are very confident. Again, there's lots of things that can happen. You know, boats can get jammed into the canal. you know, things
Canals, they
go
get you every
over well
time.
that we can't control, but we are trying really, really hard. It's a long way of sending. We're trying really, really hard to turn these around much quicker. Because we have, again, we have so many cool ideas in our head. We want to get them all out there. And it's like, because the sooner that we crowdfund them, the sooner we get them out there, the sooner we get them to the stores afterwards. So, hopefully it's going to be 6, 8, 9 months after we finish this campaign when
Actually,
you actually have the books.
Our internal goal is to get it to the printer within 30 days of the crowdfunding ending. And
Yep.
then there's a lot of stuff that happens that's not
Yes.
fully within our control. But within
Yeah.
our control, 30 days is our goal. Then we go
Yep.
through the printing process. I got these advanced copies literally yesterday. Today I'm getting another box of advanced copies. Unless I find something major, I email the printer and say, it looks good. Roll the printing presses. And then it's going to go to press and hopefully ship before Chinese New Year. So yeah, we'll do our best to get it to you fast.
Yes, so we are, just bear with us. We're trying.
Well, we're
to
making
tighten that up as we
tremendous
go
amounts
along.
of content. Like if you look at the history of Goodman Games, there were years early on when we published 96 pages of content in a year, 128 pages of content in a year.
Yeah.
Caverns of Thracia is like, I don't know,
It's over
1,000 pages of
and
content.
2,500 pages of content. This
Yes.
campaign itself is over 1,000 pages of content.
Yeah,
printed
Terra
content.
Underdeep. Like it's
So,
amazing
yeah.
how much stuff Chris
It's
and
a
Matt
lot.
and Will and
It's a
Steph and
lot.
everybody else are producing.
So,
And we're turning
but-
around as fast as
but
we
we
can.
have been hard at work through the holidays. Trust me, even on weekends, we have been working really hard to get this, to launch this crowdfunding and to actually, get these products to you guys as quickly as we can. So, but we do appreciate the patience. We do appreciate the returning fans because we couldn't
For
do a lot
sure.
of this without you guys. And to be able to do cool things like the clamshell box, literally the clamshell. Joe, when did you come up with the clamshell box idea?
No, this worked
weeks
out
ago?
great. I think it was over the holidays. I was
Yeah.
like thinking about like, it'd be cool. Maybe
Yeah.
I was at home. I feel like it wasn't this box. I was looking at some of the book in my collection and I
Yep.
was like, oh, that's a cool box. And then I was like,
Yeah.
why don't we do a box like that?
Exactly.
And this all came together over the course of a couple of weeks and the printer's going to get me a sample in like 2 weeks,
Yep.
And yeah.
So hopefully we'll have that sample to show off to you guys on exactly what it's going to look like. But like that, we're always doing things like this. And, Gary had that great idea of, hey, we should have 2 little cardboard tokens to have the layers move around. That's a great idea. We love it. We have to be careful though, because when we start doing things like that, then it starts making things.
Well, everything
get
adds a little
delayed.
bit more time, but
So, but
But
we have to just be careful. We just have
actually,
to be
no. All we have to do, we're going to add a sticker to the back that says, if this product is late, Gary did it.
Yes, it's Gary's fault.
It's Gary's fault.
Yeah, and they'll know exactly which Gary that is.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so I got to tell another story too. I know there's some collectors out there who like to get all the Goodman Games stuff. For those who don't know, actually, also shipping on the boat with Caverns of Thracia will be Grimtooth's Old School Traps. The second printing, the first printing literally sold out immediately. And some collectors like to buy it all. So if you're out there, Jim Sketch or DM Kojo or some of the other Uber collectors, also on the boat with Thracia is the latest printing of the DCC Quick Start rules. I never kept track. We've done at least like 15 or 20 printings of this. And early on, in the back here, there are spells, right? What do we got? Featherfall, Flaming Hands. Like there's, I think, 5 spells for the cleric and 5 for the wizard, I think, to get you started at level 1. I thought it'd be really funny early on to change out the spells in every printing. So the first like 4 or 5 printings actually have different spells in the back of every one. And then eventually that became a lot of work. I was like, oh, I just reprint one. And then somewhere along the way, we did a bunch of variant covers. We did like the Demon Skull, the San Julian cover. So anyway, as I was putting this, I was like, oh man, I didn't write down any of this. So there's like 15 or 20 variants of the Quick Start rules. And I'm going to start going through my like big pile and trying to write down all the ones that I can find and record it. And I also started a fantastic new process called recording information. So now when something comes in, I like write it down in a spreadsheet. So I remember for the next 23 years of Goodman Games, what got printed when. But for the first 23 years, most of it is just a giant pile in my storage unit. So if anybody has Quick Start rules out there and like go through and write down which spells, we also didn't put like first printing, second printing. So it's basically like an ambiguous mess. But I'm going to try to compile the list of all the different versions so I can like get straight. Matt, we really need to let's just call it 21st. The next one we do, let's just arbitrarily call it 21st printing and just like start,
And we'll keep track. Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So,
that's great.
Yeah. So any other questions from the audience? I
Yeah.
like Gary's suggestion. I like some of the questions we got. Yes, exactly, Martin. Crowdsourcing the printing history at DCC. Yes. Oh, I also got the early patch. If you were
Mm.
a founding backer for Caverns of Thracia, you got this patch. So you'll get this too for the first 48 hours or whatever it was. I forget what those are coming into.
Everybody can sew that one onto their jean jacket or their bucket hat or wherever it is you put your patches. I'm going to put mine on my Boy Scout uniform. That's where I have all my patches connected to.
Yes. Rope tying and giant slaying.
Mouse handling.
Mirror patches. Yeah. Fishman deboning.
Right. Fish boy.
Deboning. My older son has been getting into Master Chef Junior. Have any of you guys seen this TV show?
I can picture what you're saying, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. No.
Yeah, so it's like kids, right? Doing the Master Chef thing. And one of these
Yeah.
girls is 8 years old and must weigh like 45 pounds. And in the last episode, they gave each child a salmon, which are like, I don't know, 20 pounds. So this girl could like barely lift her like, gigantic salmon. So she, like, another kid had to help her carry her salmon. Then they gave all the kids like 14-inch knives
Oh
to
my
fillet.
gosh.
And I was watching the show. Jesus, like, some of the kids my son hangs out with, like, nothing about this show is appropriate. But like, nobody got injured, but it totally could have gone a different way.
Totally the case. Yeah, I thought we were trying to get rid of putting kids to work at a young age, and now they're
Now we do it live on TV.
incoming chefs with deadly weapons. What's going on here?
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, Martin, are we getting close to another stretch goal? This is crazy.
We're about 6,000 over, so we're 13,000 plus to the next stretch goal.
That's amazing.
And we're already over 200% backing funded. Thank you, John, for calling that out. Yes, we did just open it a little over an hour ago. So
Wow.
we're very excited at how the fans have once again responded and thrown their support in for us, because then I was telling somebody earlier today, it doesn't matter how many of these we launch, I'm always antsy before it, because you just don't know. I'm like, you hope that, we've spent years, literally years of working on something that the fans are going to want, and but you don't know until you hit that launch button. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good to see people appreciate it, It's great to know that we
Oh,
love
they're now
doing this
telling
stuff and people
jokes
do
now.
too. Yeah. Oh boy. I don't know if I want to know the answer to this traveling now.
Yeah.
We're all waiting with bated breath.
I know.
Watching the
Yes.
feed.
Right, come on,
Dude, you
can't
gotta,
just do-
like,
you gotta give
you
us the answer now.
Can't leave us hanging.
You can't not.
Or maybe he doesn't know the answer. Maybe he's like making this
Oh,
up
maybe
as he
he's
goes along.
legitimately asking.
He's like,
Yeah.
yes.
So maybe he has a bunch of giants that are in a dark room right now.
Totally the case. There's
Trying to get
seven.
out.
There's 7 or 8, and he's trying to figure out how many he has to expect.
Exactly. How many he can pull off the current task of squashing PCs, put the light bulb in.
So I have a fluorescent light bulb in my house. Anybody else have fluorescent light bulbs like baked into your house? Yeah.
Mhm.
So I live in like California, and good job, Mike. They just outlawed fluorescent bulbs, which I'm sure is like the good move for the environment. Anyway, now I can't get a light bulb if like this random kitchen fixture. And they make LED bulbs now that I guess are supposed to be compatible, but it wouldn't work in my fixture. So pretty soon I will be sitting in the dark in my kitchen because I can't legally buy the right kinds of bulbs to like use in my
Yeah.
kitchen.
The black market bulb purchase down in San Fran. You're
Yeah.
waiting on a corner. Hey, buddy, got a light bulb?
So years ago when they outlawed Freon, my great uncle, remember in like, what is it, the 90s when they outlawed Freon because it was like making a hole in the ozone layer? My great uncle hit like every hardware store in Walmart within 100 miles and bought out all their Freon and then filled his shed with Freon. I guess I shouldn't be saying this in public, but he's passed away this way. But and then he sold black market Freon out of his backyard for like a decade. And like people bought it.
Black Market Freon. That's a pretty good band name, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And we just crossed 300 backers.
Woohoo!
That's awesome. No,
Yeah.
Mike, that was a different uncle. And that's a true story, but I'm not going to tell that on the live stream. We'll save that for somebody buy me a beer at Gin Con.
Awesome.
All right, so soon we will have to wrap up this live stream because some of us have writing and layout and art to do. Because we got to get this to backers by what was the date, Chris? March 10th, March 11th?
March 10th, this needs to go to the printer.
Yeah,
All of it.
all of it.
All of it. We'll get there. Don't you worry. We'll get
Yeah.
there.
So let's give the backers a couple more minutes. Any other questions? If you're in the chat, any other questions we didn't answer? Any family history you'd like to know? Anybody want to ask a question about Matt's uncle instead of mine? Stefan, I kind of want to have a show where you show us all the cool books on your shelf.
Mm.
Like your shelf looks like a bookstore that I would like to shop in.
Well, I'm worried that my shelf is going to fall over because I have kind of overpacked it. I'll give you a better look. My studio is just a pit. It really is. But over there is my window, and my dog was over there earlier. But yes, someday we should do a studio tour. Let me clean it up.
It'd be
I'm
fun,
bet-
actually.
I'm betting that artist studios and probably our bookshelves are all quite a collection. I know that I definitely had some splaining to do when this thing came in the mail. It's for work, honey, I told her. And
Yeah, there's totally a place for it on my shelf. Look, right here, right here.
Yeah. No, but it is a fantastic book. I just got mine the other day.
Same.
It is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's not a problem until you move, Matt. I had to get a 10-foot by 10-foot storage unit for all of my games and my game books. And even then, after moving that twice to move it into the storage
Oh my
unit
God.
and then into my house and down steps and up steps, even I have come to the conclusion where I agree with my wife that it's a good chance I have too many books. Too many
But you
games.
know what, Chris? That's your children's problem. Let them figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully he plays, so that's good.
Right.
But
Yeah.
there is a lot of 4 ebooks in there, which is just like saddling,
Yeah, you could get rid of those probably. Yeah.
That's another word we don't say. We don't tell that story around
We
here.
try not to.
Right.
We try not to.
By the way, this was a fun fact. For those of you who don't know, this image that's on the front page of DCCRPG and the front page of Quickstarter, in case you ever wondered what he was burning, it's 4 ebooks. Like,
Oh, I did not know that. There you go. A little bit of backstory there.
yeah.
That's great.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for the support. Thank you for backing. Thank you for listening us yammer on for the last hour and a half. If you have any other questions, feel free to post them on the tab in Caverns of Thracia, or sorry, in Caverns of Thracia. No, in Terror from the Underdeep. We will be monitoring the comments as fast as we can. And we're happy to help answer any questions you have, or tweak the pledge levels if there's some combo you want that we didn't get right or something like that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you,
And-
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
everybody.
you, and we'll see you in the Underdeep.